Yeah, this is
Okay. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where in the world you're joining us from. I'm super duper excited to have my very good friend Sara Hyson here today. And we're really just going to be chatting about her journey through real estate because A, I think it's a super inspiring story, but B, I think there's a lot to be learned from it. So don't mind us while we have a chat here. Feel free to be a fly on the wall. And if you have questions, feel free to type them in. We'll do our best to keep up. Okay. All right, my dear.
okay. I'm ready.
You're ready.
Yes.
Okay, so Sara, I need to kind of like do a rewind and rehash our story together because I feel like our friendship has really been right in line with your journey towards success, right? So, to give people kind of a quick background, I moved to Virginia in 2019 and became a TL for a Keller Williams office that Sara happened to be working at. And my first real conversation with Sara was her coming into my office to tell me that she wanted to tell me face to face that she was leaving real estate forever because because she just wasn't cut out for it and it was too hard. And she was wrong.
Yes, I was wrong. I had
You're wrong.
been sinking and not swimming, and I felt lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was something so unique about just the way you carried yourself. Like, even in the way that you wanted to come quit the office, essentially, like, you were so kind and so warm and so supportive. And I knew, of course, at that time that you were working two jobs. So you were doing this real estate thing as hard as you could. And you were also being a waitress,
Yeah.
which is such a physically demanding job. And I think people really underestimate how hard of a job that is.
Yeah.
Now, and I think I told you this at the time, I love waitresses because they're always amazing salespeople. Um, they are like a great server is somebody who is attentive, somebody who recognizes nonverbal cues, somebody who knows how to build quick rapport. Like, these are all the things that a really great realtor has to master. Like, we spend time teaching classes on how to build rapport. Servers don't need those classes. Like, they don't need it because you've been doing it. Your livelihood is largely dependent upon your ability to get people to like you within the first hour of meeting you.
And preferably within the first 2 minutes.
Right? And you had that. You had such like a positive just vibe, even in your lowest moment.
Oh, thank you for that.
And I knew it was a low moment for you. Like, I could tell that you were not excited about quitting.
No, I wasn't excited at all. I actually, I was really sad about it.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to be coming back. I wasn't quitting forever. I was just quitting temporarily to regain, I don't know, maybe more mental strength, more money. I definitely was bleeding through money.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy as a single parent, and it's expensive to live in America. I don't mean to be like America only, but it's expensive.
And not just America. You were living in Fairfax County, one of the wealthiest county, like top 5 wealthy county in our whole country.
Yes.
Cost of living, top 5. It's not an easy place to get started.
No.
It's really not.
No.
And I'm spending a lot of time on this particular piece of your journey because I think it's so important for every agent, really every person, to understand. Like, you can never compare your step 1 to somebody else's step 508, right? And almost exclusively when I'm talking to newer agents, they have this like comparison syndrome where, well, I'm nothing compared to X, or I'll never get to Y, or, I'm just not doing as well as whoever.
I was guilty of that.
And that's what I think it's a social media thing. I think like everybody does this, particularly these newer agents. And I'm like, okay, slow down. And I really want for those newer agents out there who might be watching and listening, I want them to know that top agents started there too. Like, this is a top performing agent who came into my office and said, I'm not ready to do real estate. And do you mind if I share?
Yeah, go ahead. You can share anything.
I'm going to share some personal details, but I have permission. You just saw that. So during this conversation, I had such a positive impression of you and your ability. Like, I instantly liked you. And I'm not somebody who instantly likes most, if I'm being totally honest. So I asked Sarah this question and I was like, okay, just tell me what you would need out of real estate to make you feel like a success. Like, what amount of money do you want to make in the next 12 months to feel like this is something that you can really hold on to?
Yeah. Talk about not shooting for the stars.
Sarah said she really wanted to make $2,000. $2,000, guys. That was her aspirational goal because she had hoped that one day she'd be able to take her daughter and her sister to Disneyland. And even in her wildest dreams, she was going to budget her vacation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd been so used to budgeting. I mean, that was my life. Like, everything was on a budget.
I mean, you were going to drive. You were going to stay in like the Good Neighbor Motel 6. You were going to pack lunches and bring them into the park because you can't afford park food on $2,000 for 3 people.
No, not for 2. Not even for 2.
No, you can't. But like, this is where you were at mentally. And I feel bad looking back at it, like the interaction of it, because she said $2,000 and I literally laughed out loud in her face. And that was not
I needed it.
The belly laugh that I have, right? Like, that is what happened. I was like, oh, sweetie, no. Aim higher.
Mm-hmm.
And even you're higher, like, you're okay, I'm going to get serious. I'm going to be super aspirational. I think you said like 60,000.
I did. I said more than I was making as a
server,
as a paralegal.
Oh,
yeah. I said more than I made at that job. But it wasn't high. And it was really, I was just thinking, how do I recoup what I've lost? How do I maintain the life my daughter and I needed to maintain? Yeah. That was it. And 60 wasn't enough either. And I knew that, but I was shooting low because I'd been failing. I wasn't truly failing, but in my mind, I was failing.
Well, and I love that you use that word because I think we have a really warped definition of success and failure in our industry, particularly for newer agents. And I like to explain to people the breakdown of the prospecting conversion rates, right? And I remember the first time you and I had this conversation, I think a light bulb switched. But we don't expect to convert 100% of the leads we talk to.
Right.
Statistically, we're only expecting 1 out of 40 to agree to an appointment. And we're only expecting 9 out of 10 of those that agree to even show up. And of the ones that show up, we're only expecting 1 out of 3 to actually result in a closed transaction.
True.
And so it really is, quote, failure after failure after failure after failure by design. Like, the most successful people in our industry are 100% okay and unfazed by failure over and over and over again, as long as you're failing forward.
And I don't know if it's hard to remember exactly because it's been a few years now, but I don't remember if I knew that or I knew it and didn't believe it. You know,
right.
Maybe I thought, yeah, all these other agents are telling me this, but maybe it's not really true. Maybe they have more success than me. They've got more sales than me. They've got,
But it's really a numbers game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So what I love about the honesty that we're having here is I really feel like agents can relate to this. There are people watching this right now who feel like they are failures. I promise you. And you're not, by the way, you're not a failure. And you're not stuck there. And I love the example that you really are willing to provide. So I thank you for being so vulnerable here. I'm going to share more because you said I could say anything.
I feel like anything that you share is going to help somebody along on their journey. I feel like it's fair game to share it all just because we've all come from different parts of our journey, right?
Okay. So at this point, Sara had not sold a house yet. She had helped a lot of people with rentals. For those of you that don't know, rentals don't pay a whole heck of a lot. Like, you do a lot of work, really the same amount of drive time, if not more, mm-hmm. as you would with a buyer. The transaction itself is much simpler, but the pay, I mean, you can work with somebody for 3 months and make $200.
Yes.
That's what happens in the rental market. And that's what Sara was doing. She was working mostly rentals, and she just couldn't get into that buyer seller representation. She struggled with breaking into that. And so I asked Sara, as a personal favor to me, please, if you would give me 90 days. And I think you thought that I was a bullshit artist.
I did.
Like, I
Let's be
could tell.
honest.
Yeah. You probably made her be honest. I'll be honest too.
I was like, there's no way. She's just saying this, smoke and mirrors. Like, it's not going to happen.
And that's what, honestly, unfortunately, that's what a lot of people experience in our industry, right? There's a lot of talk, right? There's a lot of words in our industry, and a lot of times those words are not necessarily backed up by action. However, I genuinely did and still do believe in you as an agent.
Yeah.
And 90 days later, you, my friend, had sold a house.
Yes. But not only that.
Yeah.
2 months after that, I sold another. 2 months after that, I sold another. And it just
kept going and going. And I remember, so I had a baby in February, and I was actually on maternity leave with like a 3-day-old baby. And I saw the stats for our office. And Miss Sara Hyson here was the second top performing agent out of an office of over 200 agents at the time. And I was so excited and so proud of you that I called you like from my hospital bed. I was like, boom, you did it. Like top 3. Because all of this other yuckiness had started like 5 months prior.
Yeah.
Where you were just ready to throw in the towel. This isn't for you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you were making it happen.
Out of nowhere. It felt like out of nowhere, but it truly wasn't.
It wasn't out of nowhere. You were doing the things you needed to do. And it's one of those things that is so, so simple, but not easy. And people confuse the two. It is really hard to be okay with being rejected 39 times out of 40. That's hard.
It kind of hurts. It hurts your ego.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And it slows people down. I really think that's what gets in the way. It's not hard to prospect. It's hard to keep prospecting.
And there's a little bit of deflating, right?
Yeah.
Every time you get the rejection, or even a small rejection or a tiny rejection, however you perceive rejection, it's hard to get up to do it again the next day with the same zest and appeal.
The same fervor. Well, I don't think that anyone wakes up in the morning and is like, I hope I strike out today.
60 times out of
like
70 times out of, whatever the
39 times out of 40. That doesn't sound fun. 78 times out of 80. What? That sounds that's awful. Yeah. Except if you understand the math behind that, then you should, if you can reframe it, right? You can and you should start to feel closer to the goal with every conversation. The content of the conversation, not as important, right? You can get a no and you could say, boom, I'm on number 27. I know that within the next 13 contacts, statistically, I'm getting an appointment. So keep it moving.
Yeah. I think you're just following little breadcrumbs to the end goal, and you have to celebrate the successes and not focus on the no's.
Well, you have to feel like the no is a success.
That's true. That's
right. Like, because the success is the contact. Yeah. Right. And you know this. We've got the morning call. We check in every day. We report how many conversations did you have? And yes, we report how many appointments did you book, but we're still celebrating. You talked to 27 people yesterday. You're a freaking machine. Get it. Even if out of 27 people you booked 0 appointments, we're not upset. We're happy. We're celebrating because that was a successful day.
Yeah. I had to learn that checking people off the list was just as important as gaining clients.
100%.
Somebody saying no is telling you, don't waste your time on me.
Exactly. They're saving you.
Yes.
They are saving you.
Saving you time, saving you lots of time.
Correct. Now, something else has happened for you. I want to say recently, but it's been 3 years, so it's not recently.
Almost 3 years. Not yet.
October will be 3 years, right?
Yes.
So we're going on the 3rd year. Now, in getting to know Sara and starting to coach Sara, just mentor Sara, I found out that Sarah was a single mom, still is, has a beautiful daughter who I just heart. And they had been living in a rented 1-bedroom apartment, and Sarah slept on a couch because that's who Sarah is. Sarah's the kind of mom that gives her daughter the master bedroom so that she can provide as much as possible for her. And that's how she treats her clients. That's how she treats her friends. And that's really what, at its core, that's what makes you such a special agent, right? Because you are so servant. You are so willing to go out of your way to help other people. Oh my God, I'm going to get misty. And I love that about you. And I think your clients are so freaking lucky.
I care a lot.
Right? So you're able to do that for your clients. But I can't tell you, like, when I realized your living situation, how motivated I was to make you a homeowner. But I was like, this is bullshit. You're helping all these people buy houses. Sara Hyson, you need to be a homeowner.
Well, I was in less than 2 years.
You were, right? And so Sarah set a goal. We worked diligently together to make that happen for you.
Vision board with all my dreams and everything that I wanted. And that's just the visualization of it, right? Or the mental.
But more about the focus.
The focus.
Right? There's that saying, losers watch winners, winners watch the goal.
But also I had a ton of help from you with scripts, because what I found out was I really just didn't know the conversations to have with the prospective buyer. I just didn't know.
And that's kind of the difficult part about it, right? Because you go through this process of getting licensed and you learn so much about so little. Like, you know how many square feet are in an acre. You know, what do you know?
Silly stuff.
Silly stuff. What you don't know is how to sell real estate. What you don't know, oh, there's my son. What you don't know is what's in the contract. You don't know even how to prospect. Like, you don't talk about any of that. And it is so problematic. So if you don't have someone who can actually hold your hand and say, I'm so glad you know all of those things, here's what else you need to know. It's very difficult to intuitively figure out what you have to study. It's almost like, and we're in an industry where something ridiculous, like almost 80% of agents fail in their first 2 years. I don't think it's because of the agent. I don't think that 80% of people can't hack it. I really think that so many people get started and just don't know what to do next. It's an impossible question.
It's hard to get that ball rolling, for sure.
It's so hard. So, I mean, if you're in that place and you're watching this, please give yourself grace. It's not, you haven't done anything wrong. You just need the playbook. And unfortunately, there's so many people that keep that so close to the vest. That's really what Lockbox is about. It's just kind of opening the kimono. This is what you do next. And I love that you are such a shining example of what a big difference that can make.
Night and day.
Right?
Night and day.
Because I didn't do anything special for you. I just gave you a map.
Mm-hmm.
You took that journey all on your own. You made it happen. All you needed was the target.
Yeah. Honestly, in a lot of our coaching, I just needed a few well-placed scripts.
Yeah.
A few well-placed, this is the next step, right? I just needed a little bit more guidance than I've gotten. I've really not gotten much.
So, and I think that's true for most agents.
We're independent contractors. Nobody's there to hold our hand necessarily.
Usually not, right? Usually not. And the thing is, as a brand new agent, so often you don't even know what questions to ask.
I didn't.
Right? Because I don't think intuitively people are like, if only I had a script for this. You have no idea.
No.
But really, I mean, you're talking maybe 3 to 5 scripts and then transactional support.
Yes.
That's what you needed.
That's what I needed.
And How good did it feel the first time your name was called up on stage as a top performing agent?
I actually couldn't even believe it.
Top 5% in the country for your entire national brokerage.
I honestly, even still, I'm so thankful. I still even pinch myself that is a possibility.
So cute.
Do you know? That might be a little imposter syndrome or whatever, but I still feel so thankful. Yeah. And it feels incredible, but it also feels like, wow.
Okay. So you talked about imposter syndrome. I'm going to revisit you buying your first house.
I didn't believe I could do it.
Now,
I sell real estate.
This is where I truly overstepped as a friend and mentor.
No, I needed it. I needed it.
But Sara really was afraid to buy her first house, to the extent that she actually decided, maybe I should withdraw my offer. I don't think I'm ready.
Well, it was a transaction that had a lot of hiccups.
And you had a great lender.
I had, yeah.
So I want to shout out Darlene Espinoza,
Yes.
who is watching. I see her.
Hi, Darlene. Thank you. Love your house.
So there was a lot of hiccups and there was a lot of special things that had to be done. And as a newly successful independent contractor, the loan was not simple, right? So I'm so glad that, she says hi. I'm so glad that you had a lending partner that was able to get you to the finish line.
Oh, yeah.
But B, I'm so glad you didn't give up when there was roadblocks.
Yeah. That was the one thing that I gained from selling real estate, being on the other side, helping people through the process, that I knew there are always hiccups. There's always a roadblock. There's always something happening. You just have to pivot, figure it out, and move on. Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk numbers?
Can we talk numbers? I love numbers.
I love numbers. I think everybody in this little shindig is aware of my affinity for numbers.
I love emotions, but numbers speak the truth about everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Facts don't have feelings. Let's lead into the facts. So Sara bought your house. How much did you buy your house for? $395?
It was $400,000.
$400,000. Even. So we bought this house at $400,000.
Yes.
What is it worth today?
My neighbor sold for $535,000. I didn't go on the inside to see condition, so $535,000.
$535,000-ish. So we're looking at $135,000.
Yes.
In earned equity added to your personal net wealth.
Yeah.
When 4 years ago, your wildest dreams was getting your hand on $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You can turn things around so
fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask you a personal question. You can say you don't want to say it if you want. Do you remember what your down payment was?
My total contribution to my sale was $16,000. I actually looked at it the other day just to make sure.
Okay. So you have $135,000 added to your personal wealth for the investment, the initial investment of $16,000. You have almost 9 times your investment.
I know.
In 3 years.
Yeah. And not even 3 years, yes, but
not even 3 years.
Not even 3 years, yeah.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Almost 9 times your cash investment. And you've secured a payment that is fixed for as long as you own that home. What is rent looking like for a house like yours?
My neighbor is currently renting. One of my neighbors is currently renting for more than my mortgage. Yeah. Yes.
And so here's the thing. We have this conversation a lot, and I love that you got to experience the fear of being a first-time home buyer, because I think it's easy for us in an industry where we see it all the time, where we're like, of course this makes sense. Why wouldn't you do it? I feel like you were a living, breathing, perfect example of why the best time to buy a house is as soon as you can responsibly afford to do so.
Absolutely.
Like the minute you're able to pull the trigger, you pull it.
And let's also add into this whole mix. I bought in October when it's usually historically a little slower. So that was nice. But by the time that spring had come, the neighbor down the street, they sold for $465.
Like
So
instant equity.
so really 5 months later, I would have been spending so much more with a different interest rate as well.
Yeah, worse one.
A worse one.
Worse, like
2% higher
it
approximately.
was significant because of the timeline of what was happening in the economy at that point.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Darlene's got thoughts. Let's read. Okay. So real estate is by far the best way to create generational wealth for you and your family. Facts
Yes.
on facts. Agreed.
I think people think we're
And,
making that up because we're agents.
No.
But
Just
we're not
like you
making
thought I was a bullshit artist when I told you to give me 90 days. It really is true.
It's true.
There's not another investment out there where you can 9 times your money in 3 years.
But also it's an investment you get to live in. It's your
Well, and that's the
sanctuary.
thing. Yeah. The cost of your mortgage to me is it's taking your cost of rent, which is a true expense, and transitioning that expense into an investment every single month. Because no matter what, you have to spend money to keep a roof over your head.
Absolutely.
That's a thing.
Yeah. That's going to happen no matter.
It's going to happen no matter what. The beauty of having a mortgage instead of having a rental payment is that A, it's fixed for as long as you own the home, assuming that's the type of loan you obtained, which means as rents continue to creep up, you know that your payment is fixed. That's a huge relief in my world.
Yeah.
But B, every time you put money into that expense, it is added to your equity piggy bank. It is added to your personal net wealth.
Yes.
You're paying yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish for everyone to understand that.
Look, and Darlene's got more insiders. So don't forget the income tax savings that Sara is getting too.
Oh, yeah.
Also, capital gains exclusion benefit is amazing. And these are all true things, right?
Yes.
If and when you decide it's time to sell that home, you've got $250,000 as a single homeowner that you don't have to pay taxes on. I mean, that feels pretty amazing. That doesn't happen with stock investments. And also you don't 9x your money usually in 3 years.
Yeah. I don't consider that to be a permanent, it's not going to be nine.
No.
Not
going to be 9 times. And it's not going to be safe.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're investing money in something that has the ability to double, triple, quadruple 9 times your money, usually it has the ability to drop you down to zero too.
Yeah.
And that is one of the reasons that real estate investment is really so special, because no matter what, real estate has intrinsic value.
Absolutely.
It is real estate. It is the land on which you live. And absolutely, that will always have value.
Yeah. And
here
increasingly more.
Increasingly more. And here we are. If we were to look at you today versus you, 5 years ago, this is your 5-year journey. We met just almost 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
You were a single mom with a beautiful daughter in high school when we met, or junior high still?
I think she was still middle school.
I think she was junior high.
Yeah. Last year, but still.
Sleeping on a couch.
Making it work. Making it work
in a 1-bedroom apartment, working 2 jobs at least.
And this might be a sad part to add, but let's just be real about it all. The reason we were renting that place was I had a little bit of money and I wasn't bringing in a lot of income with real estate yet. Mm-hmm. And so I said, let me just pay for this whole year in rent.
You prepaid your rent.
Mm-hmm. Because my at that time, and this should also, if anybody's feeling insecure about their situation, I had not very good credit at the time.
Yeah.
Because of everything that was happening, I just wasn't doing so great.
Yeah.
So 2 years later, you can buy a house, even if you had poor credit. You're living in a 1-bedroom with a kid. And I had debt.
You had significant debt.
I had significant debt. It was awful. I was so stressed.
I know you were. And that's normal. That's human. That's part of this experience that we all go through. And I'm so freaking proud for you.
Thank you.
For how hard you worked to climb out of that, especially as fast as you did.
I wanted, what my goal was? because all goals have to have some sort of emotional basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
My goal was I wanted my daughter to have a home to come home to when she went away to college.
She has
So
that.
I knew I needed to get a house. And at that point, when I met you, really, I had 3 years, but not even, because I wanted her to live in it for at
Needed
least
to
a year.
feel like home.
Yeah, it didn't need to be like a strange home to come home to.
Yeah.
So I really had 2 years, and I really did
And you
it.
made it happen.
Yes, yes.
You bought a great house in a great area in Northern Virginia. I'm not going to get that personal.
Yeah, that's
but phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, you have really spanned every extreme in terms of lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, you went from that to you own your home. Your name's getting called up on stage. You're a top performing real estate agent. You're
That
taking
was
your
amazing.
daughter to not Disneyland, Puerto Rico.
In Paris recently.
In Paris.
Yeah.
You're stamping passports.
Yeah, we never went on that Disney
You
trip.
never did go to Disneyland.
We decided to shoot bigger. Let's go to
And
Paris.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is really the story that I wanted us to tell today. I mean, do you have any parting thoughts that you want to make sure people hear?
Everybody's got their own journey, and you're the one who told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a while I felt a little bit upset that I couldn't become a star quicker, just rise to the top and be this, and I felt a little bit like, wow, why did I have to go through this struggle? But I needed it. For whatever reason, I needed it. I think the win feels so much bigger.
I was going to say that. And there is a morning show that I listened to, and just recently they asked this question: would you rather be Oprah or Prince Harry? Right? Because Prince Harry was born into immeasurable wealth.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and fame.
And knows nothing different, right? And no fault of his own. No. But that is the life he has experienced. And then you have Oprah, who, very famously ascended from a very difficult, very poor childhood and built like an empire.
And had a ton of adversity along the way.
A ton of adversity.
Yeah.
And I really think that you have to be grateful for the struggle. I think that you can't truly appreciate something until you know what not having it feels like.
And I
really think that you learn so much through the process of building, through the process of creating and earning. And I think the gratitude that you feel, the pride that you feel, and even the empathy that you feel towards others is really shaped in those experiences.
It really is. Yeah, it truly is. I do believe
So,
it. I needed that experience. Unfortunately, I needed it.
You needed it. And here's the thing. If you're going to love the life you have, if you're going to love the person you are, you cannot hate the things that shaped you.
No. I got over that a while ago, but that was something that I did feel, because you would see all these other agents performing so well, and why am I struggling? And can I afford food this month? And
I know, but I know I said we were wrapping up. I lied.
Sorry,
we have to talk about this.
Sorry.
No, I want everyone out there to understand wholly and completely, when you see all of the successful agents on social media, 95% of them are lying to you. They are showing you the sweetest highlight reels, the shortest captions of the very best parts. But every single agent out there has a struggle.
Yeah, that's true.
Every single agent has a struggle. Even the top performing agents, right? I mean, I work with agents who do hundreds of units a year. Hundreds, plural. They still struggle.
Yeah.
Don't get messed up in this like bizarre projection that you see online, thinking that that's what it's supposed to be like. It's not like that for anybody. Like that is all pretend. It's built and manufactured to project a persona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just super important for you to understand it's not real. You can't compare your reality to somebody else's projected fantasy. That's such an unfair comparison. Just know that this is what it really looks like. This
Yeah.
is what it looks like. It's hard work, it's blood, sweat, tears, overcoming, failing, getting back up, and pushing forward to success. It's not giving up, it's perseverance. This is what it is.
And it's not always pretty when you're in the middle of it, right? When you're just
Sometimes
trying
it's
to find
terrible.
that. Yeah.
Sometimes it's ugly
It
crying.
wasn't pretty.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it is. It does make the reward at the end of it that much more sweet.
Absolutely. So I think that's the take home. Sorry that I like discombobulated. Oh, look at that. We zoomed out. I don't know why. But I really thank you for your time. I thank you for your candor. If anybody is looking for a phenomenal real estate agent in Northern Virginia, she's Sara Hyson. She works with Real Broker. She's A+ in my book. If you have any questions about coaching and how to get a little bit of mentorship so that you can follow in Sarah's path, I'm Jessica Hayes. I own the Lockbox Advantage and I would love to help you. And if you have questions, email us. Any parting thoughts?
That's it.
That's it. All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And we'll see you next week.